Clay Henry with us here, Hall of Fame sports writer and contributor to just about every show here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com and all of those things too. It's exactly right. Clay, good morning. Got the voice back. How you doing?
I feel a lot better. I sounded better yesterday, but I still had that nagging cough. And I say about 10 words and just start coughing. So I didn't want to do that to y'all.
Well, that's okay. We'll just do our coughing during the commercial break here.
Yeah.
You know, the last segment, and I feel like you've got you got a real sense of the Arkansas fan base. You know, I don't think we would be talking about this if men's basketball wasn't 0-4 right now. But people are upset, and it doesn't feel like it's just with an 0-4 start. It feels, and I wonder if you feel this too. I've seen it on our text line from some of the callers, other fans I interact with, and then you see it on social media. Do you feel that there's a disconnect between Razorback fans and the athletic department, or maybe a specific program? Are you feeling that?
Oh, you know, I think it's just the price of everything has created this, you know, the jumping off point is a little quicker. But let's be honest. From May and June of last year, the signing of some of the players, and you thought it was going to be Final Four, and the expectations were just so high. And, I almost want to say unreasonable. And I don't think I've ever heard of a roster starting from zero that people were talking about Final Four. And that wasn't reasonable or normal or anything like that. And then to go from there to over 0-4 in the conference. Now, the LSU game is different to me. I understood the first three, but again, you're talking about a team that's inexperienced together going on the road for the second time, true road game. I guess Miami was a true road game, but those others weren't. I want to throw something at you for perspective, and I mentioned this to somebody else today that's had a startup business. But 1992, I left the Tulsa World and basically started Hogs Illustrated from scratch. Had no employees, had no photographs. Just think of that. Had to publish a magazine and did not have a photographer, didn't have any photographs, didn't have any files to get photographs. And you're going to call yourself Hogs Illustrated, and you have to have a cover. You talk about pressure. And, we had no ads. It was about 3 years before I felt like, we were on stable ground as a magazine. No subscribers, no ads, no nothing. And I think that's kind of where Cal was last year. No players coming in, bringing new staff. He did keep Ronnie Brewer and Riley Hall in some the strength conditioning coordinator, but entirely new roster. Decided to do it with 9. I bet he would rethink that now. Not do it with 9 scholarship players.
How many guys were from his Kentucky squad, though? So it's not really a new roster. I mean, didn't he bring 3 or 4 guys from Kentucky?
No, there were 3.
Those guys.
Right.
Yeah, 3.
Okay. Wagner played last year injured. Ivizic came in.
All I'm saying is it's not 0.
Played a few games. One guy. That's what you're talking about. That had real SEC experience and also the talent to play in the SEC. And then you're wiped out injury-wise for 2 months. Not able to practice. They just look unpolished to me. Carter Knox and Billy Richmond, they were playing in crunch time Tuesday night down the stretch. they were giving up plays on defense, either fouls or straight line drives to the basket. There were 2 by Knox when they were trying to make a comeback. Those are going to be really good players, but they're not ready right now. But they got to play.
I agree with you on that. I like both those guys. I think next year, if they stay here, Clay, I like both those guys.
Yeah, they're talented. And they got the right pedigree. But in Richmond,
they're babies.
Didn't finish in the open court. Got it blocked from behind. I mean, it's like it was a clean block. Defensively, they look unpolished, like they haven't played together, disjointed. And your best 2 players that you got, the older players, have been hurt or, were non-functioning players for November and December, which is Jonas Adu and Nellie Davis. And I think Adu's coming on, but I haven't really seen a solid game from Davis. I bet you got $2 million in those 2 players. But yeah, but I really think that expectations are probably where we're at. That they were probably unrealistic, and there's nothing that I've seen from Calipari or heard from behind the scenes that he's not working as hard as he can. Somebody said, "Well, this will work against him in recruiting." I'm not worried about him recruiting. That's his bread and butter.
I think it works for him. He's like, "Come here and play. We need help. Look at this." I think it helps him.
You're right, Matt. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but I think he's going to continue to look for 21 and 22-year-old players that can handle this. Somebody said, "Well, how do they beat Michigan and lose these other games?" Well, I think you put Michigan in the SEC. This SEC, they lost to Oklahoma and Arkansas, which are not in the top of the SEC right now. Michigan would struggle against this schedule. I mean, I think everybody that's not in the top 15 would struggle against this schedule. Ole Miss is pretty good, by the way. You lost at home to Ole Miss in Florida, and I think they're both pretty good. They've got to win some games, and until they do, we're going to continue to have this conversation, Phil.
Okay, so then I've been wondering, what is it that you feel that they can hang their hat on to do exactly that? They play so well sometimes in the first 10 minutes, and then it's choppy for the next 30, and you see an opponent be able to go. Yes, Matt?
Is that back to Clay's point? Because I'm trying to give a reason too, as far as maybe that's Clay's point of saying Coach Cal wouldn't have 9 again, because I think our guys, we do look a little fatigued. You look at our second half not being able to finish. It's because we don't have a lot of guys to be able to rotate in. We don't really feel like we have that depth. We got 4 or 5 guys playing all the minutes.
Yeah, and when you do, there's slippage. I mean, just like I said with Knox and Richmond, you put them in and they give up a basket or they make a play on offense that's disjointed. But they just, to me, my answer, everybody else I hear talk in their offensive oriented is like, well, they got to make more shots, they got to shoot better. Well, that's not what you fix first. You fix defensive rebounding and defense. Mm-hmm. That's the recipe for winning. If you look at the teams that are going to play Monday night, what do? They play defense. If you watch the teams in the Final Four, they all can play defense. They can score too. But if you can't stop somebody, the defensive lapses are what's given up these scoring runs where all at once somebody scores 12 in 3 minutes on. Well, that's defense. And if you play good defense, you're going to get some runouts. You rebound, you get a stop. And I don't see 5 guys rebounding. And you say, well, the bigs have to rebound. No, the guards, I see the long rebounds. The bigs are under the basket. The long rebound, the guards have got to go get those. They've got to crash.
You got to have better anticipation. We do kind of watch, Clay. You're right. The guards kind of watch the shot go, and then we react instead of having that anticipation. And I think that comes with playing.
That's young players.
Mm-hmm.
The guards when you think about Bland and Richmond and Knox, they're just young. They've got the size to go rebound. They're big guards. Bland, Wagner will go rebound a little bit, but he's not a freshman. Those other three are.
What do you think, Clay, about – I think Boogie Flan is our best player. What do you think about having a 17-year-old kid that he's our best player? So who's the leader of this team? That's kind of who's going to galvanize this team. I know Coach Cal's the leader, but it's hard for a young kid to come in and be the leader. I don't know if it's supposed to be Adu or if it's supposed to be Janelle Davis or whatever, but who do you think is the captain, is the leader of this team?
Well, he is, and I see him talking to some of the other players. He's taking on more of that role. But here's the problem with that when you say, okay, who's your best player? The SEC can shut down one player. They definitely can. I mean, did Ole Miss shut down Flan? He had somebody in his face. They switched. Everybody, and I think Florida did the same thing. They were not going to let Flan get to the basket. I mean, he never got deep in the lane, and you have teams that you're so well scouted when you get to this point and playing these teams. So he can't be, and he scored 19 at LSU. But good defensive teams shut down guards, and I went back and tried to analyze what did Ole Miss do at Alabama. Well, they shut down Sears. I mean, he's the best player in the league, right? Preseason player of the year, and I think he got 11. Well, that's the recipe. And Ole Miss can shut down a guard like Flan. So you got to have help. You got to have more. And I'll look at the box score and I'll see 0, 0, 0, 0. If you see 3 or 4 zeros and guys that played 10 minutes, well, that's too much pressure on the other 2 or 3 guys.
Clay, let's move over to football here. As we got just a couple minutes left, I wanted to get your thoughts on the championship game coming up on Monday with Ohio State and Notre Dame. I thought I saw last Ohio State might be a 9-point favorite. I checked it yesterday, so I haven't seen if the line's moved at all today. I mean, that generally sounds about right. And the idea that Notre Dame's defense could probably hang for a while is just Ohio State is the most balanced team offensively in the college football playoff. That's played itself out. And defensively, they're really good, too, and you just wonder if Notre Dame is if they can throw the ball enough to be able to get them off the running game.
Yeah, the two things that make these teams different, I think Ohio State has playmakers at wide receiver and tight end and running back. They've got 5 or 6 guys spread the ball around. What Notre Dame likes to do is they like to man up the wide receivers and play 7 or 8 against the run and stop the run. If they can do that and they can man up number 4, the great freshman wide receiver at Ohio State, if they can man up those couple more of those wide receivers, well, maybe they can get some pressure with 7 or 8. But I don't think they can. I think Ohio State's going to score some points. And I think Notre Dame's running game depends a lot on a running quarterback, and I think Ohio State's is going to beat that guy to a pulp. I think they're going to hit him, and he's not going to like the way he feels at the end of that game. I could be totally wrong, but that's the way I see it, and I think that's the way the betting public sees it. That's why the line is almost it may be double digit by Monday night.
BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, and college basketball to NHL and UFC, head to BetOnline today and don't forget to use the promo code BELIEVE for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.